So we're on the last day of Invictus. So I figured we'd hit this stuff before Invictus was totally over. And this is the latest Inside Star Citizen Storm warning. I already have an idea of what this is about. I haven't watched it. I've seen a few reacts to it, but I didn't finish them. So yeah, let's take a look at what this is all about.
Invictus is here, and with it a celebration of all things spaceship and space vehicle. And with today being both RSI and Tumbril Day, we've got introductions to 2 new ground vehicles for you this week, starting with an old friend ready to make our Constellation Phoenix complete, the RSI Lynx.
You're not wrong, Mason.
Ground vehicles in Star Citizen play quite a large role. Obviously, we have...
Wait, what?
Lynx.
Ground vehicles in Star Citizen play quite a large role.
Okay. I know there's not many people in the chat right now, but ground vehicles play a large role in Star Citizen. I'm going to tell you right now, this vehicle that they show on screen is the only one that has a gameplay loop for it. It's the only one that is consistently used across the verse. It's the only one that you can use to make money in. What are all the other vehicles for? What are all the other vehicles for? We have the Cyclones, four variations of the Cyclones. We have the Ursa rover. We have the Nova tank. We have the Ballista. I'm trying to think of what else. We have the Centurion. We have the PTVs. We have the STVs. What are they used for? Like, what actual gameplay loop is in there for those vehicles? How are you making money with those vehicles? What are you doing with them? A large role in the universe? No, they have, of 99% of all the activities that are done, 99% of all the events that are done, what are you using the ground vehicles for? You could argue, okay, the new Ghost Hollow mission, you could use some tanks, some ballistas to hold down the area. Jump Town, same thing. You could use the tanks or the ballistas to hold down Jump Town. You might get away with using an STV or a PTV to sneak into one of those areas. But what else are they there for? Oh, wait. I forgot another option. You took a hostile bunker or one of the drug bunkers and you landed 2,000 meters away and you drove there. Those are the only 3 options I can think of right now. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I don't see a point to ground vehicles at this time outside of those 3 options that we're given right now. That's it. That's all you get is those 3 options. So, whatever.
Obviously, we have these fully realized full planets and moons. You don't always want to spend all your time flying over them in your ships. We're going to have things coming online in the future, such as weather, that's going to make that prohibitively more dangerous to do.
Okay. Weather. They talked about weather. I've been going back and rewatching a lot of Citizen Cons and things like that. If I'm not mistaken, they talked about having hostile weather in either Citizen Con 2016 or 2017. It's 2023. You're talking about weather and having to use vehicles for something that you dreamed up 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and it's still not in the game. So once again, there's still no use for it. There's no use for it. I understand that, yes, you need to have the assets available before you make the weather, or maybe you should make the weather and then have the assets available to do it. I'm not sure in which order you would want to do this. That's, I'm not a game designer, game developer, but please don't get on camera and tell me that ground vehicles are this huge, massive part of Star Citizen when you literally use them for nothing. Like, what are we using them for?
Flying is the main traversal type, but of course with ground vehicles, there is so much more to explore on planets. It adds so much diversity to the
What
missions that
is
we
there to
have.
explore?
I feel like ground vehicles are an opportunity for players to have fun and explore the terrain of our lovely planet, not from, going in from a top side, but really getting in and around with the dunes and the broken ships and stuff.
Okay, I get that the artists
The
are trying
fun,
to sell
the dynamic. You get some feedback from the road. If you enjoy driving,
the vehicles.
it's something for you, isn't it? It's not always a spaceship.
You need to have the options. I mean, if you don't have a
Oh yes, let's talk about PTV racing. If any of you guys play the game, I'm sure you guys have gone to the PTV tracks and have not been able to race because there's just so many people in line to race the PTVs, right? There's just so many people. You're 50 people in line, right? Yeah.
ship, how are you going to get from A to B? You need something to get you there. And if you're going from A to B, then someone's in the way, you get a tank.
But once again, what are you using the tank for?
At Invictus Launch Week, we're introducing 2 new vehicles to the game, the drivable RSI Lynx and a concept vehicle, which we'll talk about later. The Lynx was introduced alongside the RSI Constellation Phoenix back in 2014. It was mentioned...
Okay, you guys heard what he just said there, right? Back this up a little bit.
RSI Constellation Phoenix back in 2014.
2014. This was introduced with the Constellation Phoenix in 2014. It's been 11 years, my dude. 11 years, my dude. And you're just getting the links out to us? 11 years for this ground vehicle. Look, I don't want to shit all over them, but I'm kind of going to shit all over them. 2014. It's been 11 years, my dude. 11 years. No, wait. My math is wrong. It's, yeah. Oh, God. My math is wrong. But you get what I'm saying. It's been 9 years. 9 years. 9 years for a ground vehicle.
It was mentioned as it's sort of an add-on to the Phoenix.
The Lynx is RSI's more luxury counterpart to the Ursa rover.
It expands the capabilities. I suppose there's an element of, I don't know, showing off maybe.
It's for the distinguished individual who likes to travel in style.
It serves a different purpose to
I'm
the
gonna let him
Ursa.
go a little
It's
bit
very much
before I
for
start shredding
VIP
this.
transport and exploration.
We've taken some stuff from the Scorpius. We've taken some stuff from the Ursa itself. We've invented other stuff from scratch because not everything that we
And it
needed
took
already
9
existed.
years.
It is fun and fancy.
I think the exterior is amazing. It's
I'll
got
let
so
him go
many
just a little
great
bit further.
angles, and it just looks so RSI. It just comes together really nicely. We took the Ursa.
Okay, I can't. We just talked about what use are ground vehicles. Okay, I'm trying not to shit all over them. I'm trying not to. I really am. But we just discussed what use is there for a ground vehicle. And now you give us this. It's billed as a luxury transport vehicle. What the hell are you going to do with this? Once again, there's no game loops. There's no way to make money in it. Okay. Maybe in 3.20 or 320, whatever you want to call it, maybe we get those settlements scattered throughout planets and moons throughout Stanton, and maybe you get a transport mission to transport a local from point A to point B, or maybe they make it more complicated and you got to go to point A to point B, an event happens, and then you go to point C and you finish it off. Maybe we get that. But that's 3.20. It could even be 3.21 if they go that route, or even 4.0. So once again, we're being delivered a vehicle with no use, no gameplay, no way to make money in it, nothing. So it's a tier 0, or as Grumpy would like to call it, a tier -1. It looks cool. Great. Yay. And it's 9 years late. Hello, Johan. Good morning. I said this on another review of the Lynx, and I will say it again. If we had city streets and shops to go into the cities, then I would use this. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But, you know, I can understand with the settlements that are coming online in the next patch or 2 patches or 3 patches from now. But once again, we're being delivered a vehicle 9 years late, since it was supposed to be out with the Constellation Phoenix. And it has no gameplay loop, and it adds no value. So to me, I think this is kind of and I'm trying not to shit on them, but I think this is kind of a shit thing that's far too late.
And we basically made it beautiful.
It trades out some of that rugged utilitarian functionality for just a more enjoyable experience to ride around exploring in the back of.
So it's a lot of clean, glossy panels, higher quality materials, and less dense detail, more focusing on angular lines.
We're very constrained with the overall size dimensions. It has to fit in the Phoenix, so we couldn't make the vehicle any longer, wider, taller, so we had to work to the same footprint.
We've tried to not have too much visible mechanics on the outside of it, because
I mean, it
you
does look
don't want to go up
nice.
to a fancy luxury car and just see the engine just there. You know it's a car, you know it's got an engine, you don't need to know where the engine is. You just want it to look good whilst you're actually getting from A to B.
It's very nice design.
Look, I'm being very critical of this vehicle. I will say this. It does look nice. It does. It does look really nice. But all my other opinions still stand. Whether it looks nice or not, my opinion still stands.
Alberto, our concept artist, did a very good job on that. We had quite a lot of references to new electric trucks, that type of thing. Got a clean day running lights. As you go round to the side, you've got like a peek-in window of the cockpit. So underneath you can sort of see feet. I don't know why you'd want to see feet, but yeah, you can.
Some people like the feet.
And then we've got the suspension uprights, which are finished in like a goldy colour, which is quite nice. It's quite ornate for something that sort of takes the load of the vehicle.
I might have to wait for that answer,
that kind of thing. A very nice 13-piece door.
We got a 13-piece door. Now, the next vehicle that comes out, is it going to be 16-piece, 19-piece, or are we going to scale down and do like 10-piece or 8-piece door? Look, I'm trying my best not to crap on these guys, but I'm kind of annoyed with this vehicle right now.
13-piece on my side. You're not going to see 13 pieces.
I think my favourite thing on the Lynx is the wheels. They are quite unlike anything else we've got in the game.
Cool.
We've tried to go for wheels that would seem a little bit more luxurious, so we've gone for a shape that will kind of make them a little bit quieter.
They look pretty cool. They're very evocative of those sort of sand racing tyres with the big ribs on them. They give it a very strong visual identity from the outside.
My favourite thing about the Lynx is the huge rear windows.
It's got this lovely wraparound window.
Cool.
It just creates a very different atmosphere inside the vehicle.
Whether you're having in-game business meetings or just chilling with your friends, having that scenery so
right now they've given us 2 uses. LARPing and LARPing. Cool. All right, cool.
display right next to you really adds to the whole experience when you're just sat in the back with your champagne.
When you step in, we've got some TVs that pop out of the sides of the panels.
Okay, I'm seeing stock market and commodities. I'm not going to pledge for this. I'm not going to. But do we have any idea whether or not these panels are going to actually work with the in-game current commodities? And I did see on the other one, let me back it up just a little bit.
When you step in, we've got some...
Right there, they got... I'm not sure if that's supposed to be stock or more, or just a different display of commodities. But once again, are people gonna pledge? And by the way, and I'll go over it again. This is a $60 standalone vehicle, or $55 with war bonds or store credit. No, $55 standalone and $60 with store credit. Are people going to spend their $55 or $60 of store credit to get this thing and not have these panels work? Or they're just going to be dummy panels and they're going to constantly say the same thing like they do right here on screen? I don't, I kind of got to say, I kind of don't see it actually working. And I see people pledging their $55, $60 for something that's going to always be static like this and never actually work for another 3 years. Once again, I'm doing my best not to shred them and shit on their project, but this is, I'm sorry, but this is borderline stupid to me. To other people, they might say, oh, well, I LARP all the time and I need a luxury thing for the things that me and my friends do. And, you know, this will fit perfect with my Constellation Phoenix that it was supposed to be with in 2014, or this will fit perfect with my 890 jump or my 400i or my 600i. I'm not sure if this will actually fit in there, but for LARPing, okay, I get it, but I see no other functionality beyond that.
TVs that pop out of the sides of the panels,
If they
some
work.
personal storage, and
Or they're
seats,
static.
which move. And you can push a button and they will spin around. You've
Ooh.
also got a location for storage, which obviously folds away so that if you've got something you just want to put up there, you don't have to see it, but you know it's there. We've also got a weapons rack. It folds itself away and it pops out. It's got some nice little
I gotta say, that's
smoky
kinda
glass
cool.
doors on the front of it.
The lighting is designed to be a more habitable area for your luxury passengers.
We have a magnificent full-length fridge, and off to the left we've got a couple of shelves where you can store stuff. We don't say
Speaking of luxurious, this man has a luxurious beard. Maybe that's the theme we're going for here.
it's a drug storage location, but secretly it is a drug storage location.
Does that mean
Don't
it's
tell the
unscannable?
cops.
Is it unscannable then? I would assume so. I would assume it's unscannable.
Compared to the base Ursa, the Lynx is a little more agile, a little faster. It
Of course.
is like this because it just has less weight to it, less.
We made a new vehicle, so we made it better. So you guys buy this one and forget about the Ursa rover. Honestly, if I was okay, I do buy vehicles in game, and I have bought an Ursa rover on several wipes, but I use it at places like Jumptown, or I use it at bunkers and stuff like that, just because I get tired of using the PTV, or I get tired of using the Cyclone, or whatever. But I don't think that if this goes in game anytime soon, I would ever buy it for any reason at all. I mean, you're down for yeah, I don't think they're going to be putting this at the prison. It'd be a very luxurious escape vehicle for prison at Klesher. But I don't see a reason to buy this in game over the Ursa.
Carrying capability, so it can trade that off for speed. And the two people that are sat in the back in relative luxury have a much nicer experience seeing the sights of the universe around them. Compared to the other ground vehicles in events such as the Daymar Rally, I think this is going to be a strong competitor. It's going to be really interesting to see which players prioritize over the other, whether you take the speed of the Lynx versus the increased durability of the Ursa itself. But you don't often see Bentleys racing against other vehicles in real-life rallies, so maybe not as durable as the others.
This is for people that like to get from A to B and look like they're in a good car when they're doing it.
I think the fantasy of having someone chauffeur you around while you're sitting in the back drinking cocktails or the champagne and looking at your business portfolio while just the world of Star Citizen goes on around you. It's pretty cool.
It's also for people who'd never be caught dead racing in a mule.
So that's the new way to get around the surface of Stanton's planets and moons in style. But what about those who want a bit more pew-pew with their hot looks? Just go with it. Well, Tumbrel has you covered with the latest in planet-side mobility and destroyability with the Tumbrel Storm. Let's find out more.
Hello again.
Now, this I am interested in. But once again, I'm not pledging or buying anything that's a backlog or a concept, and we'll get into that. We'll get into why in a little bit.
It is once again myself, John Crew. Let's talk about the concept vehicle that we're introducing at Invictus Launch Week, the Tumbrel Storm.
I do
the
have
Tumbrel
faults with this
Storm
too.
is a light/scout tank from Tumbrel. In a lot of combined armed forces, you rely on reconnaissance on the ground to let you know what's coming ahead. And whilst we do have an array of ground vehicles that can do this role, not very many of them are as heavily armored as a tank. And sometimes reconnaissance goes a bit sideways and you need some firepower to help get you out of that situation. So the Storm is really excels in this scenario. It can be ahead of the fleet on the ground, engage targets and hold its ground before the main force of ground vehicles arrives for backup. One aspect that we wanted to change from the traditional tank and Nova setup is making this energy weapon based.
Okay,
so
that's
it
cool.
had a much greater independence from the main task force on the ground, in that it wasn't constrained by ballistic ammunition. So it has
like
an energy
that.
autocannon.
Okay, here's an issue that I have with it. Okay, it's very futuristic looking. It's energy, the main cannon's energy. So that's cool. So you're not going to have to constantly be running around trying to restock this thing, restock a tank like this. But here's my thing. It's too flat. And I don't mean it's too flat this way. I mean, it's too flat along the sides. You have a little bit of slope on the front. The back, from what I saw, is very flat up and down. You don't want tanks. You know, if World War I and World War II taught us anything, you don't want to have tanks that have flat sides like this and a flat front. I mean, the front is still pretty flat, especially at that tip where the four lights are. It's pretty flat. And then the back was pretty flat as well. You want it to be angled so that rounds deflect off of it. You know, you don't want to take a shot straight on into a flat spot like this, whether it's along the tracks, whether it's in the front, whether it's in the back. It doesn't matter. I feel it needs to be a bit more angular. And the other thing that I see is, okay, if you do hit above the lights, now I doubt Star Citizen will ever have this in there, but it angles it straight up into the cannon. So if you do get hit from the front at, you know, a 90 degree, I think that would be 90 degree, a 90 degree angle to 110 to 110, you're going to deflect the shell directly into the autocannon or laser cannon or whatever they're saying, and it would disable it immediately. So that's an issue. Is Star Citizen ever going to do anything like that physics-wise? I kind of doubt it, but you know, yeah, it does have a shield. It more than likely has a shield. I mean, the Nova has a shield. This is going to have a shield, but I don't know. I think it should be more angular, but that's just me. I mean, it looks cool as a futuristic tank. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool. It does. And I do like the fact that it's an energy-based weapon on top instead of the normal ballistic cannon that you would have on the top. So that's pretty cool. I mean, there's some things I like about it. I don't know how fast it's going to be, but I would assume it's probably twice as fast as the Nova. So I see some uses for it at, once again, like we discussed, Jump Town, Ghost Hollow, maybe taking out some of the turrets outside of bunkers. But until they actually make more solid game loops or they actually do theaters of war, I really don't see that many uses for it. I'll let them continue after I'm done, you know, now that I'm done with, you know, angles and shell deflection and all of that stuff, you know.
On top, twin-barreled to help lay down firepower, really only constrained by the size of its capacitors and power plant. The Storm is really designed for supporting Novas in attacks. It can take on most other ground vehicles. If you're brave, you can take on a Nova with it, but you probably want to bring a friend or two to help even the fight.
What's up, JT?
I received the task to complete a new vehicle. I was told to do a tank, most precisely something that would have become a killer of killers. We had to go back to the origins of Tumbril and let this new tank look less like the Nova tank and more like the Cyclone. So it was important to
I see it.
Get back that aggressiveness and that dynamics that the Cyclone had. So we opted for something a little less classical and went on a design that is absolutely more related to the manga and anime's world. When people see the Storm for the first time, I want them to feel scared.
It does look cool.
There is no flimsy paneling, there is no...
I think they said it's a size 3
beautiful refined surface. This is just optimal and very, very dynamic. So we don't have a lot of parallel lines. We have a lot of X's and V's, very strong shapes that deline what is popularly recognized as dynamic and aggressive. The interiors of the Storm will feel...
Okay, so it does have a little bit of a... So it slopes up, and then the back, it slopes down or slopes up, depending on which way you're looking at it. So I see the same issue here. Not so bad coming from the rear, but, you know, if CIG were to ever add deflection and physical things like that, a lot of shells from a Nova, especially if you're engaging in tank battles, a shell from a Nova is going to basically ride right up the front of that or ride right up the rear of that and hit the autocannon or the laser autocannon that's up there. I think they said it's size 3. I don't know if that's enough of a bite to take on a Nova, even if you do get to its rear. I just don't think that's... I don't know. I just don't think that's enough. And as a single-seater, I mean, like I said, I think it looks cool. I think it'll function cool in game. I'm not going to pledge for it, especially when I tell you what the price tag is later.
Really full of pipes, of fabric, of mechanical stuff.
So it looks like it does have... Let's go back here.
X's and V's, very strong shapes that deline what is popularly recognized as dynamic and aggressive. The interior...
Yeah, so it does have a weapon rack right here, and it does have an area where you can get... That's either storage right here or for components. One way or the other, you're going to be able to fit it looks like a single rifle in there, and then whatever this size ends up being.
Of the Storm will feel really full of pipes, of fabric, of mechanical stuff. It have to look basically ventral, like you have just been eaten by a machine. So what we have is very composed design, something that is uncommon in the tank we know today. So what we wanted to achieve when you look at the Storm is fast. Strike fast, move fast, do everything fast, no need to rely on a crew. I like that it looks a bit like an animal. It's very, very snaky, or looks a bit like a crocodile.
Now, of course, the big question everyone always asks for every new concept promotion is when? When will it go into production? Well, let's go now to the vehicle team in our Los Angeles studio and find out more.
The problem is where my story goes is always I will identify all of the issues that I have to overcome first, and then like build a plan for breaking them down. So I'm trying to think of a way of phrasing it, you know? We had a lot of cleaning up to do to make sure it was worthy of the engine, it's ready for engine, it's not going to break anything when it goes in there. And that was what most of the initial white box work we did,
at
least from an art side.
Gone past white box.
For design, we were more concerned about alleviating a lot of the issues we knew were present with the Nova, stuff like traversing on uneven terrain, exiting the hangar. These are issues we solved first, rather than waited until later in production and realized there were more difficult tasks to overcome.
So most recently, we finished Gray Box. We completed all the animations. Currently, I am doing a material and detail pass. on the
Oh, look
tread
at that.
housings for
That's
the
kinda cool.
Tumbril Storm. This thing has challenged me in ways I haven't been challenged before in working in the game industry. For example, the treads took a couple different iterations so we got right, and be able to get like the right movement as it deforms to the ground planes. This ship is definitely more organic than anything I'm used to, and I suppose it's like its own challenges, but it's been a learning process.
Yeah, just to continue on to LOD 0, finalizing all of the...
See those vents back there? If I was a tanker or anti-tank infantryman, those vents right there in the center, in between those two posts where the sleeping bags are, or the duffel bags are, or dry bags, or whatever they are, that's where I'd be aiming. Put it right up there and watch that thing explode. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's armored, some sort of high quality special armor I don't know about, but that's where I would put that shell or that anti-tank round if I was anti-infantry or a tanker. That's just me. I mean, as I said, I don't want to keep shitting on this. It is a cool concept. I just, as we've been over before, the uses are limited, and I don't think they say this is a killer of killers. I really don't think you're going to be able to go toe to toe against a Nova in this. Probably a Ballista or a Centurion. You'll be able to get into them pretty quickly.
The art assets.
Good morning, Squirrel.
Making sure everything's going to be correct for when we move on to all of our higher detail.
See, and the other thing too about tanks is the more moving panels that you have on the outside like this, the more chance of things going wrong. And as you can see, these are all hollowed out. Tank shells are just going to go right through it. But once again, I'm looking at this from, physical stuff that they're probably never going to do. Good morning, Pork Chop.
Tertiary details that will go into it later.
Yeah, I was going to
Everything
get to that in
from
a
the way
minute,
the
Pork.
doors open on the tank to the cockpit itself. When you go inside this thing, it's like stepping into a mech. It's completely different from any other vehicle I've seen in this game.
My favorite thing about Storm is going to be the role of it. The Nova is a very, very big tank. It requires 3 people. It's got that big size 5 cannon.
3 people.
You don't always need a size 5 cannon. Some people may disagree, but I don't think you do. The Storm is a little bit quicker. Only requires 1 person. It kind of sits in a really good spot between something very quick like a Cyclone and something a little bit more punchy like the Nova.
I'm excited the progress that the team has made on this. It's been a real beauty to work on, and it should be a lot of fun for the players.
Stranger, what's up? Thank you guys all.
So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week? We introduced 2 new vehicles. The RSI Lynx, which was announced in 2014. So that's 9 years late. The RSI Lynx is a luxury vehicle with no purpose other than to look cool while you're driving around Jumptown or Ghost Hollow, or you took a hostile bunker and that's what you are, I don't know, or you're LARPing that you're a businessman. I don't see the point of it. I really don't. Maybe you guys in chat or in the comment section can tell me something that I missed for what it's going to do now. The way I look at it is it's a tier 0 vehicle with no use and no purpose, like most of the other vehicles in this game. If you missed it, I went over before. There is no use for the ground vehicles outside of doing hostile bunkers, Jumptown, and now Ghost Hollow. There's no need for, there's no use for them other than the Rock. The Rock is the only vehicle that has an actual purpose within the game. Now, the Storm. Let's talk about the Storm for a minute. It looks cool. It's probably going to be awesome just to go fast and have twin size 3 cannons on the top of it. Do I think you're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with a Nova? No, I don't. Do I think 2 or 3 can take on a Nova? Yeah. Do I think this would be like if you were at Jumptown and you knew a team already had ballistas on the ground or Centurions on the ground? I think this would be great to go after them in. That being said, for $70 or $80 credit, nah, man, nah, I'm out. I'm out. I'll wait. I'll wait until it's in game available. I'm not paying $80, 70 to $80 for that. If it was 40, I'd think about it long and hard. I really would, because I think it looks cool. I think it will eventually have a purpose. But once again, it's another tier 0 vehicle that doesn't have a purpose outside of Jumptown or Ghost Hollow. I just don't see it. Like I said, in comments, in chat here, if you guys can point out something I'm missing, please do. But that's what I learned this week in Star Citizen, inside Star Citizen. Thank you, Jared. Thank you to the rest of the crew. I didn't want to shit on your guys' vehicle concepts. You guys did work hard on them, but I think there was, I don't want to say a waste of time and resources, but I think that time and resource could have gone to other things. Look, I know you're trying to get new money into the project, but I think this could have gone differently. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say. I think they could have done something differently. With that, thanks for watching, and so long. Thanks for all the fish.